Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday and I hope your weekend is still going. Today we're going to be making card number 6 for my Countdown to Christmas series. This is the MFT Happy Wonderful Christmas die, and it is a larger die that cuts out the words or the letters Happy Wonderful Christmas. Fits a portrait style card beautifully and also a landscape. So it's a larger die, and I think it'll make a great focal point for my card today. I'm also going to bring in this stamp set from Lawn Fawn. It's called Deck the Halls. It's an older stamp set. I do have the coordinating dies, but I thought the pine needles and the pine cone would add a nice little splash of color along with my sentiment. So we're going to start off by taking a piece of white cardstock and my double stitched rectangle die. I'm going to cut out a panel that's 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then I'm going to bring in some pattern papers. These pattern papers are just for my Christmas 6x6 pads. They're 2 different pads, I believe, but this says Merry Christmas on it. And then this has a white background with little tiny red polka dots. I'll cut out 2 panels. And then I did take my paper trimmer and I cut off a 1/2 inch off of my pattern paper and also my white cardstock. I'm going to go ahead and place my die on the white cardstock to the left. I'll tape that down and run that through my die cut machine. Once we run that through, I kept all the negative pieces, or actually they're the positive pieces, but I kept them. I just kept them on my plate. That would be easier to remove. I'll just remove my panel and punch out all the extra pieces. I'm making sure that I keep the A's and the D's and the P's, anything that has that extra piece. We're going to actually place back in there, and how I'm going to do this is I'm going to glue a piece of acetate to the back of my panel here. The acetate that I'm using is from Hero Art, and it comes in a pack of 20. I think I mentioned this the last card that I made, but I just placed a piece behind there. That way I have a place to adhere all those inside pieces to my letters. I'm going to start off with the O here, add a little bit of glue to the center, and then just place that O back in its home. And that I thought would take a little bit too long. So I decided just to go ahead and place all the letters that have the inside pieces back inside of the letter itself. And then this way I could just grab my glue and add dots of glue to all those inside pieces. I'm doing this because this will center those inside pieces. You don't have to. You could probably eyeball it and replace those pieces, but this just makes it more uniform. Once I add dots of glue to everything, I'm going to remove that R there. I'm going to use my jewel picker, and I'll pick up each one of those little inside pieces and place them in there. So the inside pieces are glued, but my letters aren't. Once they're all in there, I just take my craft pick and carefully lift out each one of those letters. And everything's perfectly positioned. And you can keep the Happy Merry Christmas for another card. Okay. I'm going to glue down my U a little bit. I'm going to grab my card base. My card base is a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch top folding card base. We're going to use my tape runner and go ahead and adhere my pattern paper directly on my card base. That's going to be the background for my sentiment. Okay, now we're going to do a little bit of stamping. So I'm going to grab my dies and then also the large pine needle and then one of the smaller ones, and then also the larger pine cone there. We're going to start off by stamping the large pine needle with a Cactus colored ink. It's an MFT ink. And there is like a open area here. I want to fill in that open area to make everything a little bit more balanced. So I'm going to stamp the larger pine needle a few times. And I'm not worried about them overlapping. I think pine needles are meant to be overlapped, so I really didn't mind that. Now with the smaller pine needle, I'm going to add a different color ink. This is called Elf Green. And I'm just going to stamp that around my panel a few times. And I want to apologize for the noise in my background. The hubby and the kids are out there stacking wood, so that's that noise you hear. I'm sorry about that. Okay, I'm also going to grab another piece of white cardstock, and we'll stamp that smaller one 2 times on this white cardstock. We're going to die cut that one out. I'm also going to grab some dark chocolate ink. Nope, chocolate brown. I always say milk chocolate, dark chocolate, but this is chocolate brown ink from MFT. I'll stamp 3 of the pine cones. And then I'll go ahead and take the coordinating dies and cut out each one of my elements there. This way I have a little bit of dimension on my card. Okay, I'm going to grab some foam squares. We're going to flip over each one of our elements and add a piece of foam tape behind it. Once we have all of our foam squares attached, I'll remove the release paper, and we'll go ahead and add our first 2 pine cones, kind of overlapping them in that corner there. I'll add the third one a little bit lower. And then we'll take the extra pine needles and kind of tuck them underneath, kind of filling in any of the open areas to make it a little balanced. We're going to lower this top one just a bit. And now we have a lot of dimension on our card and some real pretty color. Okay. Now I wanted to bring in a little red, so there's a little cluster of berries in the Deck the Hall stamp set here. I'm going to grab my ink. For the berries, I chose some, it's called Paver Red, and I'm going to stamp the berries in a few of the open areas on my panel. This will just kind of bring in, it'll pull in that red from my pattern paper. And just make it stand out. And we'll stamp one more cluster up on top. Okay, I'm going to grab some dark brown jute cord that I have in my stash, and it's about the same color as my pine cones. And I'm going to wrap it around the seam of my sentiment panel and also the pattern paper that we glued to the very bottom portion. I don't think I told you that, but I did adhere that polka dot pattern paper to the very bottom of this panel. So we're back again at 4 inches by 5 1/4. Now I'm going to take my foam tape. The foam tape I'm using is 3/4 inch, and so it was on sale. Well, not really sale, but it was a very great price on Amazon right now, and I'll link it below in case you guys were interested in the foam tape. But I added foam tape behind that entire panel and placed that on my card base. And then for just a little extra shimmer, I'm going to go around my pine needles and my pine cones with my Wink of Stella clear shimmer pen. And then since my sentiment has that glossy acetate background, I thought we'd go over our berries with glossy accents. And then that completes my card for today, guys. Day number 6. I thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I hope you find lots of shopping deals out there. Or if you're, I avoid Black Friday because it's madhouse, and I've had very bad experiences with Black Fridays, but I hope your Black Friday experience is fantastic. I wish you a lovely day, and we will see you again soon. Bye-bye.